And welcome back to Talking About the Hours. We're your hosts, TJ Bay and Alan Poe, back once again with latest and greatest. Hey, man, you know, we've been doing this for a minute. And like I've always said, we're always bringing on people that we respect, people that we know who are doing things. And we want to give highlights to those people. So today's episode, you see him, you heard of him, and give him his props. Mickey Mostel's in the house right now.
Yeah, what's good? What's good, y'all? Thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here. It's about damn time. It's a long time in the making.
Hey, man, great to have you on. What's going on? What's good with you, man?
Hey, man, I'm just happy to be here right about now. It's just should have been. We've been waiting a long time to do this one. Of course, it just wasn't lining up right and everything like that. But everything happened for a reason. That's why I'm feeling back and better than ever just to be able to rock with y'all right about now. So it's good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. It's about damn time.
So I don't mean to cut you off, man, but like,
go right ahead.
You know, let's get into it. So, you know, when I decided to make an album, right? When I first decided to do it, and me and you have a connection through Stu Hayden, first and foremost,
Stu Hayden,
right?
Sure.
But that's 2003, 2004. But at that time, everyone, you know, in the streets was like, oh, Mostel. So what's been going on with you nowadays, or what you've been up to?
You said that was what year? 2003?
Yeah, 2003. Because, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, you know, because you had the long slick back, you know what I'm saying, with the ponytail. So.
Still there.
Yeah.
Still there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
matter of fact, I should get braided, but I couldn't do that in time. That's why I got the beanie on right now.
But nah, but yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
03 on. Yeah, 03 on is when I first landed here in Salinas.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I started working out here, and a lot of opportunities arose from that. You know, I started a crew out here called Crime Wave. Crime spelled with a K, as spelling like killer rhyme wave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of street influence and plus a lot of lyricism, a lot of wordplay influence on the other side too. You know what I'm saying? So we tried to balance everything out as best we could. And we took for the better part of 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like there's still about a good 2 albums worth of unreleased material that still haven't seen the light of day yet that we did during those sessions.
Mm.
You know, and just wait for the right opportunity to do it. Shout out to my brothers in K-Dub Mob and Crime Wave still for Rita. And it all happened for a reason, like everybody says. And actually, I was blessed with a lot of opportunities that I would never have gotten had I stayed in, like, you know, the old neighborhood of Monterey or Pacific Grove, or, you know, even, you know, Seaside was giving me opportunities, and I love Seaside, and I always will. You know what I'm saying? But there were some things that just weren't panning out at the time that they needed to. And I will never turn my back on Seaside because I always loved them. They gave me my start, and I lived about a good chunk of my life there. So I will always love it, you know, to the very end. The side is the side. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I still never turn my back. I still have family out there. Shout out to my Uncle Tyrone and Aunt Mary. Anyway, and like I said, but Salinas gave me an opportunity that never would have materialized had I not, you know, stepped foot over here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and since I did, and the rest is history. You know what I mean?
So what was your first response, or, you know,
response, like reaction, or
no, being a white rapper, because, you know, you have Eminem and you have certain other white rappers who come into the scene.
Well, first of all, let me thank M, you know, for making all of a sudden people want to actually listen to what I had created, because it was like hitting a light switch. From the time before you hit TRL, the time after you hit TRL, all of a sudden people come up running up to me, yo, let's hear your shit. Let's hear your shit. What'd you do? And I'm like, okay, well, gotta thank him for that, bottom line. But I spent my entire career trying to make myself not sound like him. You know, and it'd still be dope as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because in the end, trying to be the next anyone is not really something that's in my list of ambitions. No matter how good of an artist they are, I still don't want to be the second anybody. I want to be the first me.
For sure. I was more or less speaking about the hardships you had, trying to get your word out, like being in ciphers around nothing but black people or Hispanic people in Salinas. So, what was that like?
Well, it's good that you asked that because the first actual like major cipher showcase that I entered into was in Seaside. um, during it was Face the Music, where the Seahorse Studios used to be at. That was a record store that was over off of Echo Avenue near where the beauty college and the sushi place was.
Yeah, yeah,
Where Papa
yeah.
Chabos is now. Yeah, there used to be a little record store tucked away in there. Shout out to Ruben and Teresa Page, the former owners of the place, and Shandar, of course, from the studio in the back room. They helped me do some early demos, and they actually invited me to this event. And there was a cipher contest that actually, I think, if I recall, I ended up placing third place that day. And, it was the first event that I actually got into that was organized and everything like that and had, actual outcome that was determined by the crowd. You know what I'm saying? That was my first like real experience of like getting involved in a competitive event with my skills like that.
So,
Like I
what
said
was
before,
your so
history.
so after that? What was your life like?
Well, it's like everybody else. I've had plenty of ups and downs. You know, what I mean, I've had it all. I've lost it all. I try to build it all back, just like anybody else would on the ground, doing whatever hustle that they've been accustomed to doing. Myself, unfortunately, a lot of things that I have, a lot of choices I've made have been less than legal, less than legitimate. But as Pac once said, it's hard to be legit and still pay the rent. And I've been a testament to that because I've had plenty of legal jobs, but none of them were able to actually keep all the bills paid, even if I was working 40-hour weeks at one point. Like, it would never be enough. I would still end up having to do something, like extracurricular, so to speak, just to be able to keep like the lights on and water running and all that shit. For some strange reason, I end up doing all the hours, all that blood, sweat, and tears put in, and still not being able to see some sort of like actual result from all the hard work. It was, for lack of a better word, dissatisfying and disillusioning. Frustration was starting to mount like towards the very end, and I knew that it was something had to give. I can't do this forever. Nobody can. Doing graveyard shifts at 7-Eleven and having my health get run into the ground because of it and having nothing to show for it was not something I really wanted to be living too long to end up regretting later. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
Life already has enough regrets to begin with. I'm not just trying to make the list longer. And when I first moved to Seaside, I was actually in the fourth grade. My parents had just divorced, and my father actually moved into the apartment in the trailer park off of on Kimball, right above Burger King. And that's when I realized that he had a major cocaine addiction. Time. And fortunately, I think one thing led to another, and best terms we ever were as father and son was when I became his dealer in the last 2 years of his life. Unfortunately, but that was a long time in the making. Things happen for a reason, like I said. And there was personal decisions made off of business ones, and vice versa. I think after he passed away in 2009, I tried to remove myself from the business as best I could, but didn't successfully do that, and ended up getting into a whole lot of legal trouble in 2010. That I'm just now coming out from underneath and still making it free and clear. Unfortunately, becoming a convicted felon was not something that I thought was going to be in the cards for me when I was trying to come in just to keep it all music all the time. That was just an unrealistic expectation I would have for myself, as I've come to find out later. Unfortunately, as I say, nowadays you can everybody knows what a rapper does when he's off the microphone is just as important, if not more important, than what he does when he's on it.
Okay.
We're
T.
under such a big microscope now.
Okay, go ahead, T. I need you to talk for a minute because I have a question to respond to that. What he said.
Go ahead,
All right. So, when you say a responsibility of rappers, so what does that mean to you, or I mean, in general, what does that mean? As far as like, so all rappers should be responsible for,
Or how they conduct themselves on and off the microphone. Like, there's a few individuals that have kind of ruined it for everybody, so to speak. You know, the obvious ones would be like, say, Tekashi. You know, that's just like kind of a black eye in the game to everybody. You know, the way things turned out for him. In fact, I kind of actually never actually heard a single full song from that guy. I mean, it just got a little bit too bizarre, and that was before he turned informant. And everything that came after, well, let's just say that, like, I don't want to tell people I told you so, but I told you so. And then other people that are suffering because of the way things are, or the state of right now, like, say, Young Thug, he had so much media coverage on his trial right about now, it almost rivaled O.J. Simpson. If you think about it, O.J. Simpson trial was like back in 1994, 95. I mean, we didn't have social media back then. And so if you think about it, there was even more media coverage, like, more cameras, more eyes on the trial with Young Thug being the centerpiece of it than even O.J. had back in 95. Same news networks that covered O.J. covered Young Thug, and then there was even all the social media presence as well. So that's like more magnified, like more millions of eyes on the same focal point. Feel me? So that's a whole new meaning to having all eyes on me, so to speak. Feel me? I remember when I got into major trouble back in 2010. They did a big old slanderous campaign on basically making up all kinds of bullshit to put next to my mugshot, just to end up try to discredit me as an artist. Even my homies out here were like, "Damn, they did you extra dirty in the news," and my charges weren't even all that horrible. But what they did to the news, did in the news, was even worse than what the actual charges ended up doing for me. There's a reason for that, and I'll probably tell you later. But let's just say that, how they say, it's made it look like something other than it really is all the time. When news gets involved and shit like that, and people like to spin it their own way or whatever, and truth ends up falling by the wayside. Let's just say that I was living here in Salinas, but they ended up raiding my mom's house instead of my house. Knowing that, a lot of the trouble I've gotten into started with me trying to keep my mother safe. Bottom line.
That was probably intentional.
Thank you. I mean, I did my best just like she did her best.
Yeah.
And she deserved me to do my best for her every single time, because there were situations that she ended up getting into which were not her fault, that she ended up being placed in danger. She had a lot of weirdos stalking her my whole life. One of those stalkers ended up being a cop. Excuse me, sheriff. Pulling up and seeing his cruiser parked in her driveway is still something that gives me nightmares to this day, for real. Rolling down this window, "Where's your mom?" I'm like, I don't know what the hell how to answer that.
All right.
And when she rejects his advances, all of a sudden now he sends his deputies after, like, to make our lives miserable, because he's a sergeant. He gives all the deputies orders. I mean, he pretty much did this up until the day he retired. And so the sheriff department in Monterey County I've had a very bad history with my whole life.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a short story that plenty of others can relate to. I mean, unfortunately,
Well, yeah.
We don't go into with the intent of becoming known as the baddest guys on the block or whatever, or baddest guys known. A lot of us just end up trying to be able to survive to come home. We don't have no other choice in the matter to put food on the table in a lot of cases.
It's great you say that, Because at this stage, I'll speak personally for myself.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of hard to let things go as far as like what you can be and what you could have been, right? So I'm sure T can speak, speaks to this a little bit. When it came to high school football, all eyes on that, right? And then that was our main goal. And then there's a point in life when you have to stop chasing that goal because you know it's not going to happen. So there's other things you might think of doing that you start to pursue, right? The podcast, construction work, being a contractor. So when is it the point, or I think that when is it ready to let certain dreams go? To especially if it's not paying the bills, and do something else. And then is it cool if you left it alone for a minute and come right back to your first love? Because now you have money from working these other jobs.
Well, every individual has their own respective situation to deal with. Both with the 9 to 5 and at home. Me personally speaking, I invested way too much for my own good. I have invested literally my entire life into this to where I don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like literally ride till I die, because having technically already died once before, saying really I'm living the rest of my life on borrowed time, so to speak. So people have expectations of me out here as Salinas because 9 out of every 10 people who know who I am already associate me with music. So I'm not going to be in any inclination to try to let any of them down, because that's what they know me for. That's what they've always known me for out here. So I'm not going to turn my back on that, because that's what got me known out here.
Okay.
For once I actually got known for doing good things in a place that's mostly only known for bad things.
How about you, T? I've always wanted to ask that question.
We have to run that back by real quick.
So the question was like, us growing up, it was all about sports, football, basketball, whatnot. That was our main goal, right? So when that didn't work out, when did you figure it was time to move on to something else, and how did you deal with it?
Then I never let it go for a while. It took me a long time. I tried to play football forever after that. So basically, maybe a couple of years ago is when it actually went away.
Right. But
the other factor that is involved that I didn't mention is whether or not you have kids involved. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not you have children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you have children, it's no longer completely about you anymore. Your parent would know. If personally, if my son was still alive right about now, he would be about 14 years old. So that right there changed a lot of things. If he was still around, who knows how my life would have turned out? Who knows if I would be sitting here right now? You know what I'm saying? But
I'm sorry for your loss.
I am too. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to put a song together about him, because I never really did get to actually know him, because he died before childbirth. You feel me? So we kind of denied the chance to be a good parent. So that, that I know I could be. Getting the chance taken away from me just makes me all the more, motivated to be able to excel in every other space of my life. That I know that I can say at the end of the day that I gave it my all. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has a list of regrets that they have to look back on at the end of their life. Why not? Well, I'd rather be proactive and try not to have that list get any longer if I can help it. Feel me?
Go ahead, D.
Nah, we say amen.
Okay, so we all have fronts or facades. So if there's one thing that no one knew about you, something that they would be surprised at, like pottery. I like doing pottery or something like that. Was one thing that you guys might have, or one thing that you guys might enjoy doing that no one knows about? T.
Well, I do enjoy doing something else, but it's not music. But there's more and more people knowing about it every day now because I'm actually getting licensed up to be in the legitimate cannabis trade. You know what I'm saying? Because I actually have my own, I'm getting my VOC number and license all taken care of right now. I'm waiting on the paperwork to come back. And actually I'm specializing in concentrates, organic concentrates like hash and wax and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's where my field of expertise lies in. I mean, my company that actually already got the LLC paperwork started off on is named after one of my songs from back in the day, Holy Smoke. I mean,
That's dope.
Holy Smoke. Exactly, man. So it comes back to stuff that everybody knows about. But when they see that product out there, they don't quite, figure it out like, wait, he did that all himself? Because most rappers, they put their name on a product. They had nothing to do with like the actual creation of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You see something like Moon Rocks in a dispensary or something like that. You see all kinds of rappers' names like, stamped on it and stuff like that. No matter where you go, from here out to New York, there's going to be different rappers on there with their names on, the Moon Rocks brand. I mean, but in the end, I don't think any of them ended up in that greenhouse growing that weed that created that, the bud that got dipped in the hash oil that got dusted in the keef afterward, and so on and so on. They didn't really take part in it. They just advertised. I see the process over from start to finish. As long as I had the power to do so, I will continue to. I should have given you a close up of what I was rolling right now because I was mixing some hash in this whole time while I was doing it.
No, it's all good. We can do it. Hey, don't strike us down. Don't monetize us. You know what I'm saying?
It's legal. Any cops watching.
That's I've been for 2 months, whatever. I've kind of dibbled and dabbled within the trade of cannabis as far as working in a dispensary, whatnot.
You're working the desk or counter, or in the greenhouse. Exactly.
But the one thing that I've learned is that there are different reasons for it, different ailments, right, that need to be satisfied or need to be cured or helped. So when did it get to a point to where that we're doing extra? And when I say that, like Mostel said, you're doing shatter, you're doing different things like that. So what is the point of going that far? What happened to good old regular weed?
I think that went the route of what they said in the song. Don't give me no Bammer weed. You smoke that shit in the SSC. If you go out of state, like to different places, like besides California, like let's say the deep south, like back in the early 2000s, Florida. I was living in Orlando, Florida in 2002, 2003. All the weed that was on the street out there smelled like ammonia, contained more seeds than a watermelon. Any actual decent weed, like from, was all imported from places like here. It ran upwards of ridiculous prices, like at least $400 for an OZ. Something that we pay like, half as much for like tops. That's how much the price skyrocketed over there because all the weed they had, that was all they knew. Was all that brown stuff was feed that they, just horrible. I mean, that's what they had to deal with. So, for us to be living in a place like that where all their best weed comes from here, we kind of live like, I don't know, say like a mythical place for them. That's what California is. When you leave California, you talk to people from out of state. Sometimes when you talk to like weed heads from out there, like, yeah, shit all the way from Port Cali, man. I had to pay extra for this. It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine.
Hmm.
It was worth its weight in gold in some places, for real. But this THC percentage and plus the other ingredients like the terpenes and stuff like that, like the stuff they've been able to evaluate in all the high tech labs nowadays, that you see on the side of the label, that you see on the products in every cannabis dispensary, that wasn't possible like so many years ago.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part too. When I, being, there, and those who have been in the industry, they talk about terpenes and flavor profile and this, that, and the third. It's like, what? I'm kind of blind.
Delta 8, though. Delta 8 kind of like disrupted a lot of things, like as far as like getting legalized the right way, because Delta 8 was created in a lab. It was trying to mimic Delta 9 THC, but it was made synthetically. So that's what got like Delta 8 tree all over the place in places like, say, Florida and Texas and Tennessee, like places that would have never seen legalization as quick as states like us did. You know what I'm saying? Because you go to Florida back in 2002, a cop pulls you over and sees even a roach in your car, he snatches you, putting you in handcuffs, and you're going to jail.
Right.
Yeah, it's no question. In fact, when that did happen to me, and I was expecting to get a ticket like I normally do out here back then, and the cop takes one look at my ID and says, "You're not in California anymore, son." Slaps the cuffs on me. Oh, what an... it was embarrassing the kind of weed I got busted for that day.
All right. So,
Real.
You have a new album coming out, correct?
I do.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the one that I just released over the summer, The Good Bad Guy, it's just now starting to pick up a little bit of the pace. But the one I'm actually working on right now, it has the title "I Am the A31." I Am the A31 has a statement which actually everybody can relate to that's from this region. Since before, when it was back still 408 still. It's not just an area, it's a culture, it's a way of life. With Monterey County being the first capital of California when it became a state, before Sacramento, before San Francisco, before LA, all that stuff. The first capital was here. That means there's a lot of the oldest known individuals involved in the bureaucracy, like in charge of California, were still here, and their old money was still here, and it is still here to this day. The remnants of it. That's why you see a lot of things happening there, like things that are done behind closed doors or behind the scenes when no one's looking, involving police, especially what I see out here in Salinas. A lot of the officers is just as dirty, if not dirtier, than the people they're chasing.
Right.
So is your new album touching on those subjects, or no?
It is, actually. It is. It's a whole lot. If you go on YouTube right now, one of the tracks I have on The Good Bad Guy is called Chinatown 2024, but the whole video is stock footage that was given to me of Salinas PD actually acting like assholes all through my neighborhood. People getting out their phones and filming it and posting it on IG. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ones in charge of that. It's hashtag Salinas Cop Watch. So they were able to provide me with the footage I needed to be able to get this video for the campaign that I took part in called Stop the Sweeps. A lot of the homeless that got treated as less than human out here every single time the police came through early every morning to uproot, basically they're all encampments and stuff like that. And I remember I used to be in a tent at one point back in 2014, 2015, but it was never as horrible as this, with stuff happening randomly every few days. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of times you don't get your belongings back when they come through with that. Mm-hmm. I have to start over literally with nothing. not given it any opportunity to be able to get further and get beyond all that, you're basically trapped in a holding pattern that you're not going to survive. Without something just traumatizing happening in the process. Unfortunately, my life is no exception, but it's getting worse for all the people that are still out there right now. And that's what that video showcases mostly. Some of the footage I even took myself just from leaning out my window. I'm just looking at Soledad Street below, just seeing what the officers are doing to some of the people that aren't fortunate enough to be able to have a door to lock behind them to separate themselves between those and the officers there. In some cases, we're even kicking people while they're underneath tarps and stuff. There's footage of that there. Another one actually shows like several officers with their pistols drawn at an individual they had pulled over. The thing was, they weren't thinking about everybody else that was on the sidewalk right there, who were all now in the line of fire, including myself. Because we were standing right there in the same position. Like, their guns were pointed at us, too. Those bullets are not going to stop once they just hit somebody. They're just going to keep on going until, they get slowed down by, something substantial, more than the human body.
What's up, T, man? You've been quite quiet. I want to give you the floor right now.
Seaside incident officer that happened that thing I've seen on the IG, just another example of what happens in Seaside too. Same thing with that youngster. They got the knee back of the neck.
I'm sorry, T. What did you say?
I don't need the floor. I just got questions. A couple questions.
Oh, yeah. I
don't need to take them.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna give you the floor to ask some questions.
Oh, yeah. Mostel, so you said you got your albums coming out. What are you doing? What promotions and stuff you got going so to put your albums out there and stuff? Do you just do this hard release and just let them go, or do you
marketing? Yeah, promotion. Yeah, promoting is always something that has not been my strong suit on my own, because I've been always trying to focus on the creative process and actually making the product to be able to get out there. Having the right people surrounding me has been, or lack thereof, rather, has been plaguing my entire career, from day one. And it still affects me to this day, but it is improving, though, because, I have some more of the right individuals now in the places that they should be. Like, for example, my boy, Truth Skywalker. I mean, he's been giving me some of the guidance that, is priceless right about now, to guide me further on as an artist and how to conduct myself around individuals that, I shouldn't be, I'm saying, like, I should say, judging books by their covers and stuff. People end up showing true colors later on down the road. In that way, in some cases, it shouldn't become as much of a surprise. People end up turning snakes, and when you thought they was all solid.
Yeah. So does that mean are you trying to get signed, or are you trying to stay in the independent route?
As a matter of fact, actually, I'm working out, hammering out the negotiations with Watch City Entertainment up in Modesto. They're helping me, if nothing else, get some solid distribution down. They work with GT distribution, and so that's where I'm getting a little bit more further some contacts in higher places that I didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big difference being made, because now I'm having folks that can actually advocate for me as an artist, that I didn't have the power to be able to do before. Saying that, unfortunately, back in the day when I was only working with Stu mostly at the time, and when I first met Al at the time, I had no resources whatsoever to speak of. It was just me, myself, and I all the time, handling all the business decisions, however, promotion was going to get done, whatever I could afford, which really wasn't all that much. To go to Kinko's and end up printing out a bunch of regular pieces of paper that have a graphic on it. What the? Who is that? Hold on. Oh, I can't answer that call. Hold on.
That's okay. Yeah.
I just got to let the individual know I'm in the middle of an interview. Yeah.
This is business, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do what you gotta do.
All right, here we go. And you see, I guess guys are still on the screen, so to
Hey, Al,
call you back. All right, good. Done deal. All right, cool.
They putting things in motion.
There we go.
Man.
Shout out Mama Tammy. I told you I would. All right. Anyway, where were we? I'm sorry about that.
On the rollout and your promotional, you got any like promotional things or coming up, or any things you're doing that's coming up?
Matter of fact, the most recent one that I did was actually a YouTube exclusive that I did. That was over the summer called Hurricane Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a YouTube only mixtape and stuff like that. It just basically was about good 15 tracks, just under an hour. Basically, just I basically a showcase to put on display of what you'll find when you listen to me on YouTube, like up until from years past up until now. Basically how the story's been led up to this point. That can basically be a jump off point to where my new projects can line up right behind that. So that project being all YouTube exclusive, I wanted it intentionally to be 100% free to everybody who listens to it. It's easier. I'll give you guys the link when this interview's over too, so you can put it up, just like I told you I would. I'm a man of my word, and I ain't trying to start breaking it today.
So, what is the feedback that you've heard thus far?
Thus far, you mean as far as like reactions from the general public, or?
Yeah, as far as the release, are you hearing like good news about it?
Well, those that exactly. As a matter of fact, it's good 99% of all the feedback I've gotten has been positive, and I'm actually looking for negative feedback just so I can take it and learn from it and be able to grow as a stronger artist with it. But actually, it seems like I'm doing a lot of things right this time that I wasn't really aware of, because the last year, just from the album that I did with Mad Dog, the Red album, and the videos that came from that, especially Medicine Man, which actually was all filmed mostly right here in Chinatown, which actually showcased a lot of areas that the Monterey County Tourism Board would not be happy with seeing the outside world seeing. So people started coming up to me telling me, you did a lot of good for this place that nobody really ever tried to do it before. So they were thanking me for that. And I said, you know what, thank you. Thank you because the opportunity didn't come to me by itself like, any other way. So thank you, just like I thank God for me be able to place the opportunity in front of me, because I wouldn't know what else to do otherwise if I didn't have that. It all just lined up and placed itself like right in front of my shoes to be able to take my first step into. Thanks to that, I was able to inspire and influence a lot of younger artists too that are out here, ones that are aspiring to get on the mic themselves, and they do have a story to tell. They do have skills while they tell it. You know what I'm saying? Ones that need an opportunity, or they might end up not being around when the opportunity comes to them next time. A lot of young artists that end up getting silenced for one reason or another, whether they're behind the wall or in the ground. It's just as true in Seaside as it is here. That a lot of times you don't know when the next opportunity is going to come. You don't know when the next chance is going to make itself appear. So you better take it while get it while the getting is good, so to speak. That's why That's why it keeps me humble at every step of the way. It makes me more appreciative of every chance that I get to be able to further grow as an artist and get have my work get into people's eardrums. And when people started approaching me, a lot of OGs, a lot of people that were paroled recently, telling me that like they somehow had heard my work while they were locked up. Somebody snuck in a copy of my crew stuff, like the early Crime Wave record. People were telling me that they were like blasting my stuff in their earphones while they were in solitary. And they thanked me for it. I just turned around and said, no, thank you. To hear all that, it was something I helped create, help them get through a time as fucked up as that.
Mhm.
I don't need no other motivation to keep on doing what I do. That's some of the most dedicated, most loyal following you could ever hope to have. For real.
Man,
I'm
keep going.
eternally thankful that I've been able to have gotten it. For real. Hell, matter of fact, the one that taught me how to freestyle back in the day, he just now recently got released. Shout out to Young Squad from Seaside. Yeah, taught me how to freestyle at age 13, and gave me my first shot of Hennessy the same night. So, that'll change a motherfucker's life, best believe. So, welcome home, Squad. We'll get started on your project as soon as you're ready. I got you.
That's what's up. Yeah,
Young
man.
Squad, parolee at large.
It sounds very, very lucrative. It sounds like you have a plan in place. But let's get to it. I mean, we're all here for the nonsense, right?
Oh, yeah, no. When it all comes down to it, that seems to be a drawing more people over than the actual substance.
So,
At the end of the day,
Kendrick,
Kendrick, good rapper, always has been.
what are we thinking? I mean, his video came out last week, and
Squabble up.
yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs. A lot of people, say that.
To be honest with you, that beat sounded like he'd been listening to the K-Don Lunchbox Quick Mix for a little too long.
You know what? Hey, I'm glad you said that.
I like it, Bill. I'm digging that beat though.
No matter how much growing up, K-Don was the only radio station here, right? Besides KMEL, but K-Don was the one, right? And so at 12 p.m. every day, they have what's called the Aquanet set, right?
Aquanet. You go by another name. I never heard that name before, but that's actually pretty good.
No, it was called the Aquanet set.
Literally, yeah, because I mean the Lunchbox Quick Mix, of course, that's when it got rechristened and all that stuff. It was pretty much the same playlist. When I read it, a lot of house, a lot of freestyle, Latin freestyle music going to go up the mix. A lot of it, that up tempo, 80s era type, first generation synthesized music and stuff.
And K-Don has never been known for like breaking new artists or whatnot. Every now and then, if someone's doing something really big, but it's mostly, top, 100 hits, whatever. But someone needs to talk to either like SoCal or DJ Mustard and say, hey, at least DJ Mustard, because the album GNX, which was released last week by Kendrick Lamar, it's all NorCal beats, it's all mob music, it's all Bay Area slap music. So,
Facts.
You're welcome. But I'm sorry.
It's facts, what you just said. It has the entire fucking NorCal influence, like
and
driving the whole album.
But I know that Kendrick likes Northern California music because he's shot out E40 in a couple of songs, right? My thing with this whole album is I wish he would have had E40 on a song, and that's it.
That's who was missing. That he could have done without Lefty. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just. I'm sorry. I'm not going to disparage too many artists and everything like that ever, publicly and all that, because this is something I don't really get in the habit of doing. But Lefty's just garbage. Trash.
We're not gonna disrespect
Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick's a good artist. Kendrick is a gifted artist. You know what I'm saying? If Dre was the one that ended up bringing him in, putting him in the fold, and executive producing like his early material, and Dre was able to put his stamp on like that kind of stuff when he sold him how many millions of records for his whole life, then it has to be something something special about the kid from Compton, the good kid, Mad City.
But you got to think also that Drake, he tried the Bay Area sound.
Oh, I didn't mean Drake. I mean Dr. Dre.
No,
Oh yeah, Drake. Yeah, of course he did. He did come to the Bay, as a matter of fact.
I'm sorry. I thought you said Drake. So you said Dre. Okay.
Yeah, Dre, Dr. Dre, the executive producer of Kendrick's early stuff.
Right. But none of his early stuff sounded like this new album.
He has evolved. That is true. He's evolved as an artist.
He's been very calculated about everything he does. So you got to think. So Drake had the motto back in, what year was that?
It was 2011, 2012, I think.
2012, whatever. It was a bop. It was a bop. But one of the things that people were saying was like, it's the Bay sound, but you don't have anyone from the Bay Area in that music video. I think you had E40.
Yeah, he was on the shoreline of Oakland, like chilling with E40 and like the Bay folks and everything, just talking shit, cracking jokes and stuff like that. Even like little behind the scenes footage, like B footage, B rolls and stuff like that. Right. You don't see him in primary scenes, like you see Lil Wayne sitting like on a lowrider during his verse and stuff like that. And you see, like in the beginning, you see Drake like rolling through like where the redwoods is at, but it's just him. He's not really bringing anybody from any locals from the area that are known for being around there into the picture.
He wasn't at that time encompassing California. He was encompassing the Bay Area sound to get sales. Whereas Kendrick, which is crazy, is that he's trying to incorporate from north to south, top to bottom, California.
Just like how he did in the Squabble Up video. He included some hyphy elements to it. You know what I mean? You could definitely see like where 2005, 2006 was coming back around again in that video.
Mm-hmm.
And which I appreciate. Which I do appreciate. Because, we're not, we're definitely not like a part of the whole LA sound. You're being our own region.
Right. Presenting.
We are our own region. We are our own sound. We are our own entity.
But I was trying to ask Titan a question.
Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. He was trying to answer, so I just want to make sure he's heard.
No, can you hear my mic? Do I need my mic closer?
Yeah.
Here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So all I was just saying is Kendrick is playing chess, and everybody else is thinking we're watching the game of checkers.
But how do you guys feel about that, though? I love the fact that. So this is how like music moves, right? Because Atlanta had it since what 06.
Atlanta?
Yeah, 06.
Yeah, I mean, that was like when Little John was pretty much the one in charge of that whole era.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out when they've had it, right? So Atlanta's had it from 06 until now, right? So now Kendrick's out, and the bass sound is starting to be a bop to where the whole world is like, oh shit, the West Coast, they have the hits, right?
It's always been this way, though. They're just now starting to acknowledge it just a little bit now. Let's be real, I mean, when a lot of East Coast rappers from New York, they had a lot of their major hits, and it's a long line of them end up having a lot of West Coast flavor to it. I'm not gonna say no names, you know what I'm saying? They know who they are, but a lot of their most melodic, flavorful, singles and stuff like that, they end up having beats that are driven by the sound you can only get from coming to California. New York does have its own sound. It's all signature because that's where hip hop originated, obviously. That's where you get a lot of the more gritty boom bap sound. Like there was always like, a little bit of kind of a 80s like swing, like, new edition type stuff like that from back then. That's where a lot of the West Coast sound ended up being innovated from, like the 80s funk era. You know what I mean? 70s, 80s funk era. Like stuff that Snoop Dogg always said he grew up listening to, for example.
So now that the ball...
My childhood heroes, I have to look to him for instance.
Sorry to cut you off. So now that the ball is in our court, right? So you have Kendrick, right? So he can't be the only one to flag staff the ship. So what other artists from the West Coast, or artists plural, can keep the momentum going, right? Because it's a resurgence for West Coast hip hop, but it's like it's just Kendrick. No, well, Kendrick and Jason Martin, aka Problem, his new album's pretty dope too. But I'm just wondering, who's gonna be the next one to come through?
Well, let me tell you something real quick.
Let's not forget about. Oh, I'm sorry. So go ahead.
Real quick, Russell. The thing is, the next person, it doesn't matter who the next person is. It's gonna be who Cali's at the forefront right now because of Kendrick. So a lot of people are gonna be listening to Cali music, looking for those beats that they're hearing, looking for those the wordplay that you're hearing. So any rapper from Cali right now could get on if they know how to ride the wave. So
the first time ever, though, also to add to that, this is the first time other cities in Cali besides LA, besides like, Oakland, besides, that general region, besides those two regions, this is the first time ever that rappers from other regions have been able to get this virtually the same amount of exposure that these other places have always traditionally been able to get.
True.
Like, EPK out of Stockton, all the EPK hot boys. You didn't really hear any Stockton rappers like, getting that much of a spotlight back in, not too long ago, so many years ago. They've always been there.
Right.
The same goes to places like Fresno, Stockton, and you're right even here, Seaside, Salinas. We have the same kind of spotlight, but close to the same spotlight and opportunity as all these other rappers from other regions have had, for years in the past. Finally be able to get like level the playing field, so to speak.
Well, shouts out to Kendrick, his album GNX. It's hard. How do you guys feel about how they were saying that took a shot at Wayne and now, Wayne wants to battle?
It's a little too late. If he wanted to do that, he should have, took the initiative when his boy Drake was in the middle of it all a few months back, and before Not Like Us became the runaway hit that it became. Truth be told, Lil Wayne was kind of quiet for the whole Drake versus Kendrick. Comparatively, saying that they were actually cutting entire albums about each other, dissing each other before Not Like Us dropped. Like, it got to have been like at least 7, 8 songs going back and forth between each other. At least that I can count. I don't even think I heard them.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Wayne never spoke up. I think
I never heard Wayne on a single one of those fucking diss tracks that Drake did against Kendrick.
Wayne wanted to be the halftime Super Bowl act and didn't get it. So now he has a problem with it. So now it's Young Money again.
Yeah.
What do you mean he didn't get it? He was never offered it. That was the whole point.
Right.
The Super Bowl. Super Bowl in New Orleans had nothing to do with Lil Wayne until he made it about him because it was in his city. It wasn't gonna have nothing to do with Lil Wayne at all. The only reason we're talking about the Super Bowl and Lil Wayne now is because he said something. And he was talking about how his mom, he brought up this little thing that his mom wanted to see him survive or whatever in the Super Bowl. But if you watch Lil Wayne and do all this stuff and like actually perform and do all this stuff, he's terrible, bro. He be all messed up, drunk. Can't even say he said himself he don't even know the words to his songs on a live video stream. Like, why would the Super Bowl want Lil Wayne here? That makes no sense. So everybody's sitting there talking like, oh, Lil Wayne should do it. He can't even do it because he said himself he don't even remember his own raps. So
Yeah, I don't even remember the lyrics to my own songs until I've listened to it, like the finished version of the studio, like, a good amount of times.
right.
You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
if you're telling stuff off the brain, then you know what I'm saying that I can understand that.
But
Yeah, but if you're not
I
even
mean,
trying to.
like, yeah, like if you're successful, you have so many hits, you have so many dope songs to where, like, Lil Wayne should have 15 minutes for 4 or 5 songs that he should know.
15 minutes is what everybody, I mean, what the Super Bowl is wondering is like like, you think, just think about this, man. This is the Super Bowl, right? They're gonna sit there and research all this stuff. They're gonna go through the videos and they're seeing the videos of him saying like, "Oh man, I don't even remember having what was
Ever
happening."
since that moment with Janet Jackson, ain't nothing,
He's
didn't know
sitting
how
there
time show
drinking
it was.
Vaseline and shit all over his videos. You know what I'm saying? And you really think they want the Super Bowl wants him falling all over the stage and doing all that stuff? You know, while he's trying, while
It's a
millions,
family event.
you know,
Yeah.
listen to that
Like Chris Rock. Yeah.
any dumb shit like that. Even Snoop Dogg couldn't even smoke on the Super Bowl stage.
Mm.
Come
Yeah, that's
on.
what I was going to say. They're like, yeah, Snoop Dogg, they don't let him light up a blunt on the fucking halftime show.
Snoop Dogg
Well,
on the
laid
Super
down
Bowl
one on
stage.
Timberlake and Janet
Definitely.
Jackson a few years back.
Hey man. Hey. Like everyone wants to know Janet had cool titties, nigga.
Oh, I ain't going to contest
And
that. Yeah, she could bust out the other one
no,
too. I mean, while we're at
no,
it, but
what I'm saying is like
ever since
that was a one point in time to where anyone could see Janet Jackson titty.
everyone went crazy after that was in charge.
Like what I'm saying is she wouldn't do Playboy, Hustler, you know what I'm saying? So hey,
Yeah,
you wanna know what's
that's right.
about? You wanna know what's about?
That's right. Yeah, Chris Rock said even the titty was all surprised. And all of a sudden, hey, whoa, hold on.
It was all planned, dude. Like, yeah, she went.
Yeah, well, let's just say before that show, I had no respect for Justin Timberlake at all. He was just another member of NSYNC, as far as I was concerned. But after the show, I was like, hey, all right, he's all right. He's all right in my book.
Now, well, I
Give
mean,
props for that.
if that was his call without her knowing, then I'm not going to agree with that. But if they were both in cahoots, then yeah, she wanted that. She wanted that to be shown.
Let's just say I finally had something to give him props for rather than something that I wanted to keep on clowning him for all day in, day out. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I grew up in the days when he was still part of NSYNC, and that M kind of roasted them first before anybody else could, but it kind of spoke for itself. Because in 8th grade, that's all the radio played. Even K-Don was playing that shit.
Dirty pop. Yeah.
My ears started hurting. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like what is it? Ron Perlman. He was the guy that backed like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet. He was the guy in charge of Samba Recordings, who actually was overseeing E40's early distribution deal. I'm saying that was like E40's first like 7 albums that came out on Samba Corporation, which was all largely due to the wallet contents of Ron Perlman, that big fat dude who looked like Jabba the Hutt with a suit on in Orlando, Florida. But it was him, like his corporate prowess was able to get like a lot of these individuals on the radio versus whoever didn't get whoever was denied their chance.
Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off. Hey, T, remember back in the day when I was like, hey, let's start a boy group. Remember that?
My baby.
We were the highest thing in smoking, cuz. Anyways, yeah. I digress.
Yeah, and after a while, it was just like how it looks in the videos. I end up getting more business than the SPCA. I mean, I get that, but
Mm.
in the end, I'm sure their contracts were written the same way as a lot of rappers were that are complaining about that, how they got, mistreated by their employers.
Then the SPCA. Gotcha.
This is the SPCA.
So who's gonna? Well, we already know the halftime show's gonna be fire. Everyone's gonna watch this. Now, if you're in Aubrey's shoes, how do you come back from this, or do you just leave it alone?
Try to reboot Degrassi.
Oh, so you like he comes back to school. He's a teacher now, or
Yeah.
or like he's a principal now.
Still in the wheelchair. I just came up with that. Now I'm like, wait, that's his solution right there. That's like his only fallback right there.
Oh yeah, because he was a basketball player. He was an athlete, right? So, right, let's say me and you had like a major injury, right? And I thought about this today, which is funny. I'm glad you brought this up, Mostel. So, let's say our junior year, right? And we had major injuries to where we couldn't play anymore. Would you what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah, what would you do? So in other words, you got hurt junior year in high school, you couldn't play any sports anymore. What would you do?
I'd go into business, do my own business. I do what I said I should have did. I wouldn't have never played sports.
But do you think that, not initially, because I know, like for me, that would have been hard to get over. But
I mean,
do you think you'd have waited like 2 or 3 years?
No, I think I would have played. Actually, I don't even fucking know, man. That was 20-something years ago. My mindset then, as of now, would have been way different.
Right.
So,
When you're young, you never actually see the fact how short life ends up turning out to be.
I probably would have did something retarded and thought life was over with and tried to rob a bank or some dumb shit or whatever.
Think about it.
And this would be my last question that I have before we get into other things. So, have you ever felt like you've been defined by your job or your position? And that goes for everybody, right? Like, playing sports, you're an athlete, and in your head, you're just an athlete. But as you go throughout life, yes, we're in our 40s now, so you had to transition from having that athlete mentality or music mentality to something else, or do you feel like you're still that person deep down inside?
Well, just speaking personally, I mean, I've always made it a point to go out of my way to try to keep myself as grounded and humble as I once was. Like back in the days when I was still only working with Stu and still getting the feel for like just the studio process itself, to where I can still act like it's day one for me, even though I'm so much further down the road. It just makes me more appreciative of all that, and I never try to let my ego go before the decisions that I end up making. That I can't say the same for everybody else that I should have to share noise space with. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, and people end up having like Rick James side, like egos and not the record sales to back them up. Unfortunately, that's like someone else said, like, sounds like a personal issue. It goes beyond like just what you're doing on the mic. There's something else that's going on, but whatever it is, I wish you'd handled it before you got here. It may have made a lot of difference in your success.
Right.
Who knows? No, I would have tried if I was in their shoes. If that was the problem, I'll try to deal with it before they, like I step on the stage first.
Okay.
But as I say, hindsight's always 2020.
True. Go ahead, T. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So nothing.
No comment.
Cool. So before we go, Mostel, is there anything that you want to get out there? Socials, you want to put anything out as far as marketing? Let it be known right now.
Yes, sir. Good Bad Guy on all platforms right now. Hit it on Spotify, hit it on Apple Music, hit it on Deezer, whatever. I mean, after a while, every single platform that anyone's ever heard of has that album on it. So look out for Good Bad Guy. That's hitting right now, and then I Am the A31 is going to be hitting right after that. That's what's coming next. Meanwhile, Big Up Mob still put it down.
When can they look out for that?
Right about now, I'm trying to get that finished before. I'm trying to get the production process of it all done by New Year's. So have it hopefully out before the springtime.
Okay. Everybody, you listening, you ready for that? Go cop that shit. Or what you're gonna be able to? Is it gonna be available for pre-sale or sale, or how that work?
I'd rather be able to do that because give it if I have the resources to do so, then taking all avenues needed, be able to put more time and effort into it that can be allocated like for that kind of stuff to be made. Like for pre-sales and stuff like that, and trying to get like promotional swag developed, like I did for the Good Bad Guy. I really couldn't have the feasibility to do more than just the posters that I had street team members actually do the old school way, putting them out on the streets like at crosswalks and stuff.
Right.
Here for me. And as well as seaside, putting them like stacks at different liquor stores, smoke shops and stuff like that. The traditional way. Because that's the era I come from. That's what I know is like tried and true. And just because nobody else ends up bothering doing it anymore doesn't mean it doesn't still get out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the old way still prevails.
Keep doing that shit. That's still today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
Hey, Mostel, man, I want to give you props for joining us, and thank you once again for being on the platform.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Nothing but love.
Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, hopefully, great things come your way.
Yes, sir. God bless. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
All right, y'all stay up.
You too. You have a great night.
Yee. Peace.
Peace. And thank you guys once again. Listen to Talks About Hours. I'm your host, Alan Poe. If you like it, you like it. If you love it, you love it. Like, subscribe. We definitely need you guys to like all the videos that we put out. It helps us greatly. And we're here for y'all. So see y'all next week. Peace.